A three-day standoff in Pleasant Hill has ended with a former Pittsburgh police detective being arrested. This started Thursday night when police say the suspect, Chunliam Se-Chow, shot his wife. She survived, but the police chief is facing tough questions today about why, in the midst of the siege, he pulled his officers away from the scene, leaving an armed suicidal suspect alone for 18 hours. John Ramos has that story.
The man living in the house behind me had already shot his wife and ended up shooting multiple rounds at a police SWAT team. So neighbors here are wondering how it is that police could consider him to not be a threat to the public. There were lots of police today at the home on Cleopatra Drive, just like there were on Thursday at 7 p.m. after a woman had been shot by her husband when she tried to enter the back door of the house. Her injuries were minor, but police cordoned off the area and tried to get the man, a former Pittsburgh police officer named Chunliam Se-Chow, to come out. He'd been posting videos to social media wearing a flak vest and holding an assault rifle and the message, "Anyone tried to break into my home is going to be killed, and I will have no remorse because I did a good thing to rid evil." But at about 11:30 p.m. Thursday night, with Se-Chow still inside, the SWAT team packed up and left. A news release said, despite the fact that his posts suggested he might be suicidal, circumstances suggested that he was, quote, not an immediate threat to the general public. Police Chief Scott Vermillion says it was his decision.
I believe I made the right decision. Having said that, the factors changed, and my decision to do that, eventually it really didn't work. And for that, I'm accountable.
Vermillion says he believed that Se-Chow had a grudge against police, and by leaving, they would de-escalate the situation.
I believe that there would be a cooling off period and that he would not escalate. In fact, he did the opposite, and his mental health and his social media posts elevated.
The chief says some officers remained in the neighborhood in unmarked vehicles watching the house. But at 5:30 p.m. Friday night, 18 hours later, the SWAT team returned after Se-Chow's angry posts continued, and he ended up firing some 30 rounds at their armored vehicle. Finally, at 8 o'clock Saturday morning, Se-Chow surrendered. Peter Shears lives in the neighborhood and couldn't figure out why the street had suddenly become reopened.
That was weird to me too, you know. I didn't understand it. I thought maybe he escaped the house or something, you know, but no, he was still in the house, I hear.
Ed George was helping a friend move out of a home next door while the suspect was still in the house.
So my concern is, well, if the guy's still there and no police presence are around, he can come out, he could run, become a fugitive, right, and endanger somebody else's life. So to me, that's endangering the public.
As for Shears, he thinks the fact that Se-Chow was a former cop played a major role in how the situation was handled.
I think when he was a black guy, he was dead by now, for sure.
I think so.
It's a little bit, sounds racist, but that's the way it is.
Do you understand the perception of a lot of people in the Bay Area? They're going to look at this and say, the police just walked away from an armed suspect who was a former police officer.
Yeah, I absolutely do understand that. I made those decisions for the reasons I've stated. At the end, it ended peacefully and nobody got hurt, and that's the best resolution we could have asked for.
Still, the police chief says he's been doing a lot of soul searching over the incident and considers it a learning point for the next time something like this should occur.
Well, the suspect faces a charge of attack with a deadly weapon on his wife, as well as multiple counts of attempted homicide of a police officer.